hooded scarf. So for today, you will need two different yarns. We're going to use a bulky yarn, and I used super bulky number 6 yarn. You could probably get away with using a thicker 5 if you'd like, but otherwise a super bulky works up well. And I'm going to be using Sprightly acrylic super bulky, and the color that I'm making in the video is suede. The color that I made for my original one is black. That's why it's called Phantom Faux, the faux fur, and Phantom because it was black. But the black doesn't show up that well on video, so I'm going to make one with the suede color. And the fur that I'm using for this video is Go for Faux by Lion Brand. And you're going to need about half of this skein. You can use any faux fur brand. I like this one, and this has 65 yards, and you'll use about half of this, maybe a little more. So I would say about 35 yards of faux fur yarn, and this one is the color Bear. And the one I used for the black is also the same brand. So you're going to need those two yarns, and then you will need a size 9mm crochet hook. This is a clover one. And you'll need some scissors, a sewing needle to tie in your, or a yarn needle to tie in your ends, and then a few stitch markers if you have them. You can also use safety pins or a bobby pin if that works better for you. So let's go ahead and get started. To start off, we're going to chain. Now this scarf is for an adult size. You can probably adjust it for a kid pretty easily. I actually made this for a child like a year and a half ago, and I just came up with a pattern as I was making it, and I never wrote it down or anything, so I'm trying to recreate that. But I did not work this up for a child yet, so this is an adult size. You're going to start with a slip knot, but don't start with that yet. You're going to leave a really long chain in the begin, or a really long end in the beginning, because this is going to be where we sew up one of the pockets of the scarf. So I would say leave about, I don't know, I always leave too much. Maybe a foot and a half to 2 feet at the beginning before you do your slip knot so that we can sew up the pocket later. And if you don't want to, that's fine too. You can always reattach yarn, but I feel like this is an easy way to do it. So go ahead and make your slip knot. If you're unfamiliar with, I mean, this is a really easy, it's mostly just half double crochets, but if you need any help with the stitches, slip knots, anything like that, if you're a beginner or just need a refresher, I do have videos for all of that in my playlist. Okay, so start with your slip knot, and we're going to chain up 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Don't worry, I'm not going to go through every single stitch with you guys. I'll leave you be to do your own, but just to get started, I wanted to go along with you. So this is going to be the width of the scarf, and we'll work it that way. We'll go widthwise. So from here, you're going to go to the third. You're going to half double crochet in the third chain from the hook. So skip those first two chains, and we're going to half double crochet into the third chain from the hook. Half double crochet is just yarn over, go into the chain, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through all three. Okay, so now I want you to just go ahead and half double crochet all the way across. And when you get to the end, you should have 16 half double crochets. So pause the video, do yours, I'll do mine, and I will meet you back. Okay, so we finished our 16 half double crochets. Sorry if you hear buzzing in the background. They really just started blowing snow off the sidewalks when I started this video. Okay, so from here, we're going to chain up one and then turn your work. and we'll move on to row two. So for row two, we're just going to do a half double crochet again, but this time we're going to go in the back loops only. If you're unfamiliar with that, it's really simple. When you look at the top of your project, you can see all of your stitches, and with a bulky yarn, it's really easy to pick out your stitches. There are all these little V's up top, and each V has a front loop and a back loop. So here is your front loop, and here is your back loop. So normally you would go through both the front and the back loop of your stitch, but we're just going to take the back loop only. And this gives it a really nice ribbing effect and some texture. So make sure you get into that first one right underneath the chain one, and go ahead and yarn over, go in the back loop only, and then just finish up your regular half double crochet. And we're going to do that all the way across. So back loop only, half double crochets for 16 stitches. And then we'll meet back. Okay, I finished up my 16 stitches, and I just wanted to mention, make sure that you're counting your stitches on this, because sometimes it can look a little different on the end and you're not sure if you should pick up that last one or not. You want to make sure you have 16 for every row. And then from there, we're going to chain one and turn our work. And from here on out, for the entire scarf, you're just going to do half double crochets in the back loop only, and then chain one at the end and turn your work. So we're going to go back and forth, half double crochet in the back loop only. The only row that we do a regular half double crochet is that very first row into the chain. So from here on out, you're going to do half double crochet, back loop only, and you're going to do that for a total of 103 rows. So we already did our first 2 rows. So from here, you're just going to do 101 more rows of this. And I know it sounds like a lot, but we have to make the scarf extra long. It's going to be, I think it turns out to be about 70 inches when you're finished, because we need to fold up the pockets of the scarf. So that's why it's a little bit longer. So go ahead and do your next 101 rows of back loop only, half double crochet, and don't tie off. Just keep your yarn on your hook, and we will meet back up when you get there. And it should be about 70 inches long. So we'll see you in just a few. All right, welcome back. So you should have your full scarf pretty much finished now with your 103 rows all together. And I have mine. So from here, what we're going to do is, you have 2 choices actually. You can either chain up one and single crochet around the entire scarf. So what you would do if you choose to do that, it just gives it a nice finish around the edges. I need to cut some of this because I ran out of yarn and I was changing out my yarns. Okay, it gives it a nice finish all the way around, kind of a little bit more of a rounded look. I do have my black one. Let me show you the difference here, if it will show up on camera. Okay, so this is with the single crochet all the way around. I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but it just gives it kind of a nice finished look. Or you can leave it as is. I don't mind this look. You know, it's a little bit more rippled or jagged, but I kind of like the squared look of it. So here's the difference. It's really up to you. I'm not going to do a single crochet around for this scarf because I wanted to show 2 different options. But if you choose to single crochet all the way around and you're not sure how to do that, you're just going to chain up one, and then you're going to turn and start going into the sides here. Now, sometimes it's kind of hard to find where to go in because what you want to do is make sure that you hit every row. And it's nice because these are ridged, since we did the back loop only, so you can see where each row is. It's this one's up, this one's down, this one's up, this one's down. Just go into the end of every row and do a single crochet. Okay, so you would just single crochet across, and here, I'll show you. Make sure you go. Now I went into the row that's in the back, and now I'm going to go into this row that's ribbed in the front. And sometimes it can feel hard to find which stitches to go into. It doesn't really matter. Even if you just go into this one piece here, that's fine. Or if you pick up both of these pieces for your single crochet, that's fine. Just make sure you do one in each row so that it's the same when you turn and go to the other side, that you have the same amount of stitches. So you would do just one single crochet around each, or in the end of each row, all the way around your scarf. And for the corners, I like to do 3 single crochets in the corner, because then it does one on the side, one in the middle, and then one on the next side. And that way it doesn't pull your scarf too much. So go ahead and single crochet around the whole scarf if you'd like, and when you get back, make sure you do this last row too. When you get back here, you'll slip stitch into the very first single crochet that you're doing here. I hope this is making sense. If you've ever, if you're an advanced beginner or above, you should have no problem with it. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below and I can help you with it. Or you can leave your scarf as is. It will save you some yarn, and save you a lot of time. But if you don't mind the way that your scarf looks like this, which I don't, then you can leave it as is. So if you're going to single crochet, go ahead and pause the video and do that, and then meet back up. And if you're not going to, then we'll just move on from here. Either way, if you've done your single crochets or if you've left it like this, we're going to tie off here, but you need to leave a long strand like we did in the beginning so that we can tie up this side of the pocket later as well. So go ahead and leave, about 1.5 to 2 feet of yarn. Cut your end. And I just kind of do a chain and pull it through. So we're going to tie off there. Okay, now from here we are going to, and this part might be a little easier if you did the single crochets all the way around, but it's not difficult. What we're going to do here is we're going to start the hood. So the hood is going to go, we're just going to single crochet it, or I'm sorry, we're going to crochet it directly on the scarf. We're not going to do a separate hood and attach it. I've done that before, and this way just seems easier for me. So you're going to lay your scarf out completely, and sorry I can't show the whole scarf here, but it's just so long. And then fold your scarf in half lengthwise. So here's where my scarf is folded, and you're going to put a stitch marker right in the crease there. Just whatever stitch is right in the middle, go ahead and put your stitch marker so that when you open it up, you can see it here. Okay, and from there we're going to start the hood on the sides here. So this is going to be this is the middle of the scarf, and we want the hood to start on this side, and then we're going to work back and forth. We're going to half double crochet. We're going to do the same pattern: half double crochet the first row, and then chain 1 and turn, and half double crochet in the back loop only in the second row, all the way up for our scarf. So hold on just one moment. Okay, sorry, I had to grab my tape measure. So it doesn't really matter the number of stitches. What we really need is the width here for our hood. So you want to do about 18 inches across, and that's about how big we want our hood. So on either side of your stitch marker, do 9 inches. Okay, 9 inches here, and then place a stitch marker at the beginning of that. over here on the one, and then we'll do 9 inches on this side just to make sure that it's even on both sides, and then place a stitch marker in that row as well. Everybody's stitches are a little bit different, and if you did the single crochet all the way around, your stitches are going to be nice and pulled together more so than these. So I think it's more important to have the length um, than the number of stitches, the stitch count. Okay, so from here we're going to reattach our yarn where the pink stitch marker is. So on the right hand side of your project, let me grab my yarn here. We're gonna go ahead and reattach our yarn. And the way I do that is just put my hook in, kind of loop it around, pull through, and then I just do a chain there to secure it. Okay, and then you can remove that stitch marker. And we're going to chain one. Oops. We're going to chain one there. So what you're going to do from here is half double crochet all the way across from my pink stitch marker or whatever color you've used on this side, all the way across. This is the middle, so don't stop there. Keep going all the way across to the other end. So one half double crochet in every row across. Now if you did the single crochets across, it's going to be really easy to find your stitches. If you didn't, again, you're just going to want to make sure you go into the top of every row, and you can see that with the ribbing. So here's a row, here's the next, here's a row, there's the next. I kind of do it in my head like back, front, back, front, back, front. So just make sure that you do one in every row across so that there's the same amount. Well, I suppose it doesn't really matter if it's the exact same amount because we have a middle here, but just make sure you do one half double crochet all the way across to your other side, and then we will come back together. All right, so I finished my row and I had 38 stitches. So if you're somewhere close to that, that's good. So we're just going to now chain up one, turn our work, and repeat what we did for the scarf. And let me see, we did... I just wanted to see how many times I went into, okay. So from here, we're going to do our back loops only. So just go ahead and make sure you get into that first one and do your back loops only in your stitches across for however many stitches you had. So I had 38, so I'm going to do my half double crochet in the back loop only for 38. And then when you get to the end, chain up one, turn your work, and do another row. And we're going to do 15 total rows of this, and that includes the first row that we already did. So we're on row 2, and you're going to do 15 total rows. So go ahead and finish up your rows, pause the video, finish up your 15 rows of back loop only, half double crochet, and then we will meet back up. And we don't have too much left of this project then. So I'll see you in a few. Sorry, it's actually 16 rows total, so 15 more rows. So that first row of half double crochet by itself doesn't count as one of the 15. So if you're including that one, it's going to be 16 rows altogether. And if you're not including that first row that we did, you're going to do 15 rows of the back loop only. I just wanted to clarify on that. I'm not done yet, but I just wanted to show you, make sure that you're counting your stitches too, because on the end, this last one needs to be worked into, and sometimes it can look like, oh, we're at the end already, but you want to make sure that you get that last one as well. So be sure that you're counting your stitches and that they're the same all the way across. Otherwise, you're going to have a hood that starts going up on its own, and it just isn't going to work out properly. So I just wanted to make a note of that to be sure and count your stitches all the way across. I have about 7 rows done so far. I just wanted to show you what it should be looking like so that you can kind of match your progress. So that's where we're at with 7 rows. And just keep on working, and I'll see you back. So I'm just finishing up my last row here. I have one more stitch to do. And this is what we should have so far. We've basically just finished this part of the hood. And we are going to tie off here. So leave, it doesn't have to be as long as the tail that we left for the sewing of the scarf, or for the pockets, but leave a little tail here so that we can sew up the top of the hat. And go ahead, cut your yarn and tie off. All right, from here you're going to want to grab your sewing needle. You can also slip stitch across the top if you'd like. For this one, I kind of like to use the yarn needle. Sorry, I think I said sewing needle, but I meant yarn needle because with the slip stitches, it just kind of leaves like a ridge on top, and I like it better when it's a smooth, more of a smooth edge. So what you do from here, you have your scarf on both sides. You're going to fold this in half. So fold one side of the scarf over and fold the top of the hood over so that it's completely in half. Make sure it's even. And then you can put your yarn, the top of the hood, you put that yarn on your yarn needle. And we're just going to sew up the top of our hood here. So what you want to do is go through the stitches on each side. So go underneath this stitch and then match it up with the first stitch over here on this side. Pull through. And then do the same all the way across. So just sew up both sides. And like I said, you could slip stitch here if you want, but to me it just kind of leaves like a little ridge on the top that I didn't want for this particular pattern. So it's really up to you, but I'll just go through and do all this. If your stitches don't add up exactly, it should be fine. You can kind of skip one or go into one twice if they're not exact, but I would try to make it as exact as possible. Here. Go through these last couple, and then I kind of just go through the end and back over. Okay, and then you can pull a little bit, and you're going to want to sew, or I'm sorry, you're going to want to weave in that end. So I just kind of put my yarn needle through to the underneath part. Pull it a little bit, and when I pull it, just make sure that you're not pulling too much, but I like to pull it in a little bit so this isn't like a sharp edge. So just kind of pull it in a little bit up top, and then I just go through some stitches here to make sure it's secure. Go through several stitches, different ways, up and down, back and forth across. However you like to weave in your ends is just fine. Just to make sure that it's really secure. And then I like to do a knot or two at the top. And then you can just go ahead and cut that yarn. And we have our hood. So next what we're going to do is get our faux fur and we're going to start attaching that. So this is what your hood should look like or something like that. And if you'd like, you can flip it inside out and do the other, use the other side as the side out if you'd like. It really doesn't matter. It's pretty much reversible up until we put the yarn on. So, or the faux fur on. Sorry, I'm distracted. It's snowing right in front of me and I'm just watching everybody outside. Okay, so grab your faux fur and we're going to attach it at the side here. Now, you can kind of see where the hood starts here. This kind of goes down this way. And you're going to attach the yarn. I attach mine 2 stitches over from where the hood meets the scarf because if you do it right here, it just kind of there was like I don't know, it just looked funny to me. It just kind of went straight like this and then out and down. So this way it just, I don't know, blends it a little bit better. So with the inside of the scarf facing you so that your hood, this will be what people see when they look at you this side, you're going to insert your hook about 2 stitches over from where this scarf and hood line up. Okay, so right about here. Go ahead and attach your yarn. And you are going to, we're just going to half double crochet all the way across. So I half double crochet in the same stitch that I attached and then one here and then just start going up the side all the way around the front and down. And then when you get to this side, once you hit the last one where the scarf and the hood meet, then do 2 more half double crochets into the next 2 stitches of the scarf there. Okay, so go ahead and do that and then we will meet back up. When you get to the end over here, this is what we should have. And we're just going to chain 1 and then turn and go right back over all the fur to the other side and do 1 more half double crochet in each stitch and then we will tie our faux fur off. So it's difficult to see the stitches, but you can definitely feel them with the faux fur. They're a lot looser. So just go ahead and go into each stitch 1 more time with a regular half double crochet all the way across to the other end, and then you can tie off your faux fur and we'll meet back. All right, so I finished my faux fur on the hood and I'm just going to cut my yarn here and tie off, and I'll weave in that end later. So from here we're going to do the fur on the bottom of each side of the scarf. So make sure that here, let's pull this out. Okay, it really doesn't matter because the fur is going to show up on either side, or yeah, on either side, but I kind of just like to make sure that my scarf, the front of my scarf is where I'm going to attach the yarn for the faux fur. And make sure you're doing the same side on each side of the scarf so that it's uniform. Okay, so here we go. You're going to attach your yarn on the, grab my hook. Okay, you're going to attach your yarn on the end of the bottom of one side of the scarf. We're going to do the same for both. So go ahead and attach. And then I do chain 1 and we're going to half double crochet across. And we just do 1 row of half double crochet across and then you can cut off and weave in that end. So go ahead and do that on both sides of the scarf and make sure that you do the same number of stitches on both sides so that it's uniform. And then we'll meet back after we've done both sides. Okay, guys, we're almost done. How exciting. I'm so excited to bring this pattern to fruition because it's been in my head for a long time, and I know a lot of people have hooded scarves and ones with fur and ones without, but I didn't realize that when it was in my head. And then I started writing up the pattern and I saw somebody had posted a very similar scarf and she's very well known and I thought, oh no, everybody's gonna think I'm copying. But I had worked so hard on it already and I had really made it a year and a half ago. I just never wrote it up. So, because I was very new to crochet at that time, I never imagined that I'd be writing patterns. But we're all I actually, after I saw that, I went and changed my stitch because my stitch was almost the exact same as hers, so I completely changed the pattern. And I feel like there's enough room for all of us to succeed and help each other out, so I decided to go along with it anyways. So I'm really happy if you're making this or if you're watching, and it means a lot to me, so thank you. Okay, so we all we have to do now is sew up the ends so that we have our pockets. So you're going to fold up the end here, and I did about, on the black one that um, I did about 6 inches. So let's see, a little bit more. Yeah, so about 6 inches, like maybe from the middle of the fur down, and just make sure that you do the same on each side so that the pockets are the same size. So you're just going to thread your yarn needle, and we're just going to sew all the way around. And I don't sew the fur part. I like that to kind of stick out a little bit. So just kind of underneath the fur, just put your yarn back and forth like we did for the hood. Just kind of go back and forth in the stitches all the way down the side. And if you did single crochet around your entire scarf, it will be really easy to see the stitches. If not, it's not hard. I mean, you just kind of find your way through to make sure that they line up pretty good. I just want to do some of these with you because I want to show you how I go across the bottom so that you don't have to tie off your yarn on both sides and reattach. And it doesn't have to be perfect, the sides. I mean, obviously mine are not perfect, but it's fine. I kind of like it a little bit chunky anyways. I think it gives it character. And I'm certainly not a person that is perfect with my crochet. Some people are so, so good, and I'm so jealous that theirs looks like perfection all the time, but you know what? I'm perfectly imperfect, so I'm happy with what I can make. All right, so now when you get to the bottom, I just kind of go through a few stitches like this, and I go all the way across the bottom, whoops, so that we can just keep the same piece of yarn and not have to tie in. So just kind of go through some stitches to pull along here. Just make sure you're actually going through some stitches, weaving in and out, so that it's not just a loose thread or loose piece of yarn in the pocket there. Just kind of weave your way in and out so that it's not too noticeable, but it just makes it a lot easier than having to reattach. All right, and then for the side, we're just going to do the same thing, just back and forth through your stitches to sew up the pocket, and we are almost done. See, I always make a tail way too long, but I've made tails that weren't long enough in the past, and it's really frustrating when you kind of run out of yarn, so I like to make them a little bit longer. If you guys are making this too, I'd love a comment down below letting me know who you're making it for or how it turned out for you. And if you're on Instagram, please tag me in your finished product. I'm at Creations Misfit. I would love to see anybody who made this because it's really special pattern to me. Or anything, if you use any of my videos, please tag me or comment. And if you like the video, if it helped you, that would be really helpful for me too. Okay, so now we have sewn up our pocket, and we have one done. You're gonna go ahead and tie off here and weave in your end, and then you're gonna do the same for the other side pocket. And just make sure that it's the same, about the same height as the first one we did, about 6 inches. Okay, and then we'll meet back. Hey guys, I just wanted to make sure to say, be sure that your pockets, you're sewing them up on the right side, because when I did my first one, I did the first pocket correctly, and then I turned the other one the wrong way, and I almost started sewing it up backwards. So I know that this is a big piece of material, so when you grab your um, when you fold up your pocket, make sure that it, just kind of pull the whole thing down to make sure that you're pulling it up on the right side and you don't end up sewing a backwards and forwards pocket, unless of course that's what you want. So I just wanted to make that clear. But anyways, basically I could just say we're done from here. Once you get this sewn up, I don't have to stop and come back. You are finished with the project, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, any comments, please leave them below. And if there's anything else that you'd like to see, I have some stitch videos up and I have some pattern videos up right now, but just a handful because I've just gotten started. I'm happy to do a lot more, and I will be doing a lot more, but if there's anything specific you'd like to see, I would love to hear your feedback, as long as it's nice and kind. I mean, constructive criticism is great too. I will take it. But yeah, if you could leave any comments below, or how this pattern worked for you, and again, if you'd like to tag me on Instagram, I would love to see anything that you've made. And if you could give this a like, that would be really helpful in having other people find my videos as well. If you'd like to hear more from or see more from me, please subscribe. And again, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me that something that I've made is in the hands of other people as well now. I mean, this is not something I ever imagined I'd be doing, and I just learned to crochet about a year and a half ago for the most part, and I've really taken to it, so it really means a lot, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and have a great day.